Good afternoon, everyone. I'm pleased to welcome you all on behalf of Unacademy, India's largest online learning platform for the preparation of various competitive exams. My name is Neelam Malkani. I'm going to be your facilitator and guide for CAT and other management exams. I have been taking sessions for vocabulary building for your exam, for CAT as well as for other management exams, though these vocabulary building sessions will also be helpful for cracking other exams like SSC and Bank PO. So I started taking these sessions with etymology, that is root technique. Then we discussed a lot of words with pictures. We had 3 sessions on vocabulary where we discussed words with current affairs, contemporary issues. With different news items, we discussed and gathered the meaning of these words. Yesterday, I had a session on vocabulary with words based on US presidential election. So I have been employing these various techniques for developing vocabulary, for developing the meaning of these words. Today, again, I'm live with yet another session with these innovative techniques for vocabulary building. I have taken the theme of travel for gathering some words around this theme, right? So pandemic might have stalled all our travel goals this year, but nothing can stop us from discussing these words for our exam preparation as well as for rekindling our hope for having these travel in 2020. So let's get started with today's session, vocabulary building with theme of travel. All right, but before that, those of you who are joining me for the first time or watching my video for the first time, let me introduce myself a bit and let me take you to the platform of Unacademy. My name is Neelam Malkani. I have around 12 years of experience of this preparation industry and have trained students of CAT, GRE, GMAT, SAT, IELTS and TOEFL. My area of expertise have been English and verbal reasoning. I have also set and designed assessment papers of English and reasoning for professional bodies as well as for government bodies of various states. I also served as an examiner for an international organization and assess the proficiency of students who are going for that exam. Recently, I have authored a comprehensive book of English based on the preparation of competitive exam. The book is written in both Hindi and English. Now let me tell you how you can be part of Unacademy and start your preparation of your targeted exam with Unacademy app. First of all, you have to go in your Play Store and download Unacademy Learning app, right? After downloading the Learning app and after filling in all the details, you will be shown these different products: less classes, free courses, special classes. If you want to attend classes for CAT, you have to opt Plus. You will be shown all the courses which are offered under this category, such as CAT, GRE, IELTS, CSCS and other exams. When you choose CAT, you will be shown all the features that you will be getting once you opt for this course, such as 30 hours of live session every day. So this is the freedom that you can enjoy if you be part of Unacademy. As per your convenience, as per your time, and as per your availability, you can choose the time of your study, you can choose the time of attending class. 30 hours of live session every day. These sessions are delivered by top educators of India who have extensive experience of their respective fields. These people have wealth of experience of mentoring and guiding students of different sections. The courses which are delivered by these faculty members are well structured and well designed by those people who have experience of curriculum and module design. These courses include, the courses which are designed include concept building sessions, exercise session and then testing, right? So that you build up on these concepts and after all, you will have to test yourself. So testing also is inclusive of these modules. What more, every month a new course is designed and delivered on Unacademy app. The courses which are specifically designed for these exams, such as ZAT, test your decision making ability, So a course which is for decision-making ability is designed and delivered every month, right? So this is how you get comprehensive preparation module on Unacademy app. When you go in the subscription, you will be shown all the modules of subscription, such as if you want to go for 1 month, if you're targeting 2020 CAT, you can go for 1 month. If you're targeting 2021, you can go for 1 year subscription. If you are in second year, you can go for 2 year subscription as well, right? So different models of subscription have been devised to cater to your specific needs. So as per your requirement, you can choose the model of these subscription. If you want to avail 10% discount on any of these subscription model that you choose, you can type code Neelam, right? If you type this code, you will be able to avail 10% further discount on the fee, all right? So this is all about Unacademy. Now one more important information. From last Sunday, 18th of October, Unacademy started conducting National Scholarship Test. The National Scholarship Test for CAT is based on the pattern of CAT. Very likely this is going to be a pattern of CAT this year, though the exam has, the pattern of the exam has been given in the notification, but the actual number of questions has not been given. So pattern which is anticipated, that the scholarship test is based on that pattern only. You get to see how well you can do in that changed pattern, right? So you will be given 3 section tests, and you will be given your All India ranking as well as your section score. So you can easily see where you stand in terms of your preparation vis-a-vis All India level students, right? And if you need to fine-tune your strategy, if you need to change your strategy, you have adequate time to do that if you start taking these scholarship tests now, all right? Same time, these scholarship tests, after you take the scholarship test, same day you will be given detailed analysis. Detailed analysis will be taken up by an expert faculty who has designed this test or who is expert of that particular section, right? So you will get to see what mistake you made and what improvisation you need to make in that particular section, all right? So do enroll yourself for this test. Test yourself and see where you stand. Same time, you stand opportunity to win exciting prizes. If you stand among one of the top 50 scorers, you will get 5,000 Amazon voucher, right? If you are among 11 to 30, you stand a chance of winning 3,000, Amazon voucher. And if you are 31 or 50, right? So then you will get the Amazon voucher of 2,000 rupees, right? So what more you can ask for? Just go, enroll yourself, take the test, see where you stand, and same time, if you excel in this test, give these prizes, all right? Okay, so let's start with today's session. As I said, I have taken the theme of travel today, right? So with travel, I have also given you some pictures so that you can see these words being depicted in these pictures, right? So they will give you crystal clarity about the meaning, as well as they are going to imprint in your mind for a long time. All right, so we have been taking sessions. I have been taking sessions of vocabulary building through pictures. So I have kind of mingled two techniques here. I have taken a theme of travel. Same time, I have taken the help of these pictures to show you the clear meaning of these words. Let's begin with first word today. The word is itinerary. So whenever you plan your travel, whenever you plan a trip, you make an itinerary. Itinerary is going to give the details of the places that you are going to stay, the hotel that you are going to be, you are going to stay or you are going to choose to stay. At the same time, the route of your travel, where you are going to board your train or where you are going to take your flight, and then where you are going to halt your journey, right? So all these details are going to be there in an itinerary, right? So itinerary is a document which details your travel plan. So a plan of journey including the route and the places that you visit, right? So if you make your itinerary, you're also going to detail all the places that you are going to visit during that journey, all right? So that's a document. He drew up a detailed itinerary. So you can see a picture of an itinerary where a person who is going to take who is going to start his journey, then he is going to break his journey, then he is going to take a lunch at somewhere, he is going to take that seminar. So that entire detail of his travel, his journey, his trip is given in this itinerary. This is how an itinerary looks, right? So your travel detail, your boarding detail, the place that you are going to stay, the name of the hotel, and everything. All right. So visits to 4 different countries are included in our itinerary. So it's a noun, right? Itinerary is a noun because it's a document. The National Gallery is on most tourist itinerary. That means most of the tourists who come to this place, they make it a point that they visit this National Gallery. So most of the tourists make it a point that that is there in their itinerary. National Gallery is there in their itinerary, right? When people visit Agra, so Taj Mahal is the topmost destination in their itinerary, right? So that way you can understand that when they come and make the itinerary, when they come to UP, they make the itinerary, which places in UP they are going to visit. So Taj Mahal in Agra is going to be the topmost destination in their itinerary. The itinerary includes a visit to South, right? So here, I hope the meaning of itinerary is clear. It's a noun, it's a document which details all the information about your travel, about the places you are going to stay, and about the places you are going to visit. Alright? Now, when you call a person itinerant, so the person, when he is called an itinerant, he travels from place to place, especially to find work, right? Though figuratively, this word is also used for a person who travels from one place to another place, right? But initially, it was used only for those people who travel from one place to another for searching a job or for working, right? So they were not stationed, they could not stay at one place because their job involved traveling, their job involved moving from one place to another. So they were called itinerant, right? So itinerant workers. So laborers are itinerant, right? So wherever their work is finished, like if they are in construction, the building is completed, so they move to another place where the work is going to start. So that way their job is itinerant job because they move from one place to another place. Marketing people, a marketing job is again itinerant job because you don't have a fixed place, you have your workstation, right? So you possibly do not have a workstation where you sit whole day and work, but rather you have to go from one place to another place, go from one client to another client, marketing and advertising your product or your services. So that way marketing is also itinerant job. You can also call an MR, medical representative, an itinerant professional because this job involves going from one doctor to another, going from one medical practitioner to another medical practitioner, right? So a medical representative is also an itinerant, all right? So he was the son of an itinerant oil field worker, right? So he possibly was not brought up on one place, but rather since his father was an itinerant, his upbringing happened on different places, all right? People soon heard that there was an itinerant preacher in town. So itinerant preacher who possibly does not have a set ashram where he sits and gives sermons, but rather he moves from one place to another and preaches, right? So that way itinerant preacher. Itinerant journalist. So that way a stranger is itinerant journalist, right? So who works from different places, right? So whenever he gets a piece of news, piece of story, he goes and covers that news, then he's told that he has to go to another place and cover the story, right? So he is an itinerant journalist. He does not sit in studio, he does not sit in the office and does his job on computer, but rather he goes in field and covers his story. Itinerant journalist, itinerant laborer, itinerant preacher, right? So I gave you all these examples to just explain you the true meaning of itinerant. So itinerary is the travel plan, right? So the document which details the information of your journey. But itinerant is a person who moves from one place to another. All right? Okay. I guess I have taken the perfect picture of a man who truly embodies the feeling of wanderlust or the spirit of wanderlust, right? So strong desire, a strong feeling, strong urge to travel from one place to another. That is wanderlust, right? So when you have this strong appetite to go from one place to another, to travel, to explore world, to explore new places that you have not visited, you have the feeling of wanderlust, right? So Bear Grylls here manifest the feeling of wanderlust, or spirit of wanderlust. It's a strong desire to travel. So lust is strong desire, strong urge to do something. So wanderlust, right? So you can understand this word by um, the word which is associated with it. The wish to travel far away and to many different places, right? So you have a strong desire to see, to explore world, especially those places that you have not visited. In July, wanderlust takes over the whole nation. So if I talk about India, so whenever there is this, it's summer in India, so people have this strong trigger of wanderlust because they start seeing pictures of their friends being uploaded on Facebook or other social media sites which show what places they visited, what kind of enjoyment they had on these places and their pictures, right? So they have this strong, trigger for wanderlust, right? So wanderlust, they start feeling desirous of, going to these places that they get to see in these pictures. An exotic Maldivian vacation will fill you with wanderlust, right? So it will fill you with the desire to go or to desire to travel, right? So wanderlust. So wanderlust is again noun, right? So it's feeling of traveling. It's a desire of traveling. All right. Okay, so literally itchy feet means when you have this desire to itch because there is some sensation in your feet or there is some uneasy feeling in your feet, and that's why you have this desire to itch, right? But when you have itchy feet, it's a figurative expression. It's a slang which is used when you have this desire to travel, when you want to travel, you don't want to station at a place, when you don't want to stay at a place, but rather you have this feeling, irresistible feeling to go and see the world, right? So to start to want to travel or to do something else, right? So this word is also used when you start having this strong desire to do something else, something which you have been doing for a long time. You start feeling satiated by that activity and you feel you should start doing something else, right? You possibly feel bored or you feel highly saturated by that activity and now you feel you should turn to a new leaf, right? So that is also having itchy feet. So having itchy feet is used in two ways. One, when you start feeling desirous of traveling, and second, when you start that you should start doing something else, you start feeling that you should do something else. After 3 years in the job, she began to get itchy feet, right? So here the secondary meaning of the word is used here. So she was possibly bored from that job because she had been doing it for 3 years and now she has itchy feet. That means she wants to do something else. After a few years in one place, I get itchy feet, right? So I cannot stay at one place for more than 3 years and I start to get itchy feet, right? So it's a figurative expression, it's a phrase which is used for getting or having strong desire to travel and to do something new, right? So wanderlust, itchy feet, almost similar. Okay, so you can see the picture, see the scenario, see the overview of the picture. So jaunt. Jaunt is a short trip which you undertake for pleasure. All right, so a short journey for pleasure or sometimes including a stay, right? So short trip which you take for pleasure because you are bored, because you want some change, you want to chill out, you go to a place which is nearby, you stay there and come back. So 2-3 days, a jaunt, a pleasure trip. A Sunday jaunt into the hills. So those people who live in Delhi, maybe, they go to Himachal Pradesh or they go to Uttarakhand when they have extended weekend. They go to Uttarakhand to have a jaunt there, to have a jaunt in the hilly areas of mountains, right? So jaunt is a short trip, a pleasurable trip. A short journey that you make for pleasure, right? Same is excursion. Same word can be replaced with excursion. Excursion is a kind of picnic, an extended picnic, which is longer than a picnic, right? So picnic is when you usually come back the same day, but excursion can be a prolonged picnic, right? So excursion is also a pleasurable trip, a short journey made for pleasure, especially one that has been organized for a group of people, right? So when you plan something for an entire family, or with your extended family, or with your friends, or with other people who you are close with, so that is an excursion, right? So if you are living in Madhya Pradesh, then you have extended holidays, or when you have extended weekends, you plan a short trip to Pachmani, a hill station in Madhya Pradesh. So that is an excursion, right? So excursion is again a short trip, synonymous with word jaunt. Look at the sentence. We'll clarify the meaning further. So a group of people on an excursion. They have gone on an excursion to York. There are regular weekend excursions throughout the summer, right? So here with these sentences, you can understand it's a noun. So the form of the word is noun. You have to use it with another verb because it's a noun. So excursion can also be pluralized excursions, right? So in 2019, we had a lot of excursions because of good weather for a prolonged period of time, right? So a lot of excursions, a lot of short trips, pleasurable trips, right? Jaunt, excursion, short trip. Now, this is also a trip which is planned, but here comes another angle to it. This is planned for a specific purpose, expedition. So whenever you see our expedition going to Antarctica, so it's not excursion, it's not jaunt, it's not travel either, it's expedition. Expedition to Antarctica, expedition to Arctic Ocean, right? Because they are going there for a specific purpose. That's the purpose may be research, the purpose may be discovering something, or the purpose may be staying there and acclimatizing themselves with that kind of climate, right? So with a specific purpose, when you take a journey, when you undertake a travel, that is expedition. So look at the definition and then we will go through the sentence. An organized journey with a particular purpose, right? So especially to find out about a place that is not well known. The expedition is also done with the purpose of gathering more information about the place, right? So that the place may be in oblivion, or the place may not be known to people, or the place may be hitherto undiscovered, right? So people who go on these expeditions, people who work in travel sector, travel and tourism sector, or the people whose work involve finding out different locations, especially those locations which are not explored. So they go on these expeditions and find out different places which may turn out to be tourist destinations. All right. So to plan, to lead, or to go on an expedition. So Captain Scott's expedition to the South Pole, right? So he possibly had some very specific purpose, very clear objective that led to this expedition. South Pole, right? So not a kind of terrain where you go in for recreation, for entertainment, for pleasure, but rather for a specific, scientific purpose. On an expedition, Hawkins had died on the same expedition a few weeks earlier. So possibly he lived in that hostile atmosphere. He died there, right? So the atmosphere was possibly not very salubrious, right? So here he died because he went there with a specific purpose, right? So on an expedition. We are going on a shopping expedition on Saturday, right? So possibly with a specific purpose to a place which is so far unexplored. We are going to that place and buy certain things. So with a very clear purpose, we are going on a shopping expedition, right? Alright, so look at this last sentence. Scott died while he was on an expedition to the Antarctic in 1912. So look at these places: South Pole, Antarctica, right? So all these places which are usually used for scientific discovery and scientific experiments, not for leisure. All right. So expedition has a very specific meaning. Now, what happens in filling the blanks is that you may be given all these three words: expedition, excursion, jaunt, trip, right? So if a sentence involves the context of taking a trip for a specific purpose, especially for scientific discovery or a scientific experiment, you know which word to choose, right? Because most of the time, if you don't know the subtle differences which exist between these synonyms, you won't be able to figure out what word is required, because more or less all these words are synonymous: jaunt, excursion, and expedition, right? But now you know the nuanced difference which exists between these words, right? You will have more clarity when you come across these words in your exam. All right, let's move on to next word: exotic. So you have food platter here, a fruit platter rather, which is which includes all the fruits which look alien, right? And at least I am not familiarized with these fruits. I have never seen these kinds of fruit in my country, so they are not native, they are not indigenous to India, right? So anything which is foreign, anything which does not belong to your land is exotic, right? So when you travel to different places, you get to see different flowers, the flowers that you have not seen in your own native place. Or you get to see these kinds of fruits, vegetables, people, costumes, customs, right? So anything which is foreign, anything which is alien to you, anything which looks unfamiliar could be exotic. Something which is exciting is also exotic, right? From or in from in another country, especially a tropical one, right? So the basically the word is for those things which have their origin in tropical countries, right? Seeming exciting and unusual because it seems to be connected with foreign countries, right? So when you go to a foreign country, when you visit America, the kind of attire you wear, the kind of mannerism you have, or the kind of you know the kind of way you present yourself can also be exotic for the people who are living in America. You can also be exotic because you look foreign, you look unfamiliar to them. So the things that you do there can be exotic for them. The traditions you follow there can be exotic to them, right? So exotic, anything which is foreign, foreign for you, and you can also be exotic for other people. So brightly colored exotic flowers or plants or birds, exotic birds. So there is a panoply of these exotic birds. Whenever you get to see some exhibition, you see the pictures of these birds, which are not from your own country. She travels to all kinds of exotic locations all over the world. The fruit sound exotic. Do they taste good? So the fruit in the plate, they look exotic. Do they taste good? Because you have not tasted them before, so you don't know how they taste, right? So exotic is anything which is foreign, right? Now, when you see a picture of a land or a beach or a scene which does not look Indian, you are clear that the picture was not taken in India, you can say it's an exotic view, you can say it's an exotic picture, right? So anything which does look foreign, all right? Okay, so picture says it all. So you see a man having a backpack, having a suitcase, standing on a road, a barren road, which doesn't seem to have any means of communication, and he wants to hitchhike. He seems to be wanting to have a hitchhike, right? So hitchhike is to travel by asking for free rides, right? So we have seen this happening in different movies, Indian movies. We see people, heroines, when they are abandoned by someone on the road, they hitchhike and they travel to their places or reach their destinations. So travel by asking for free rides in other people's car, by standing at the side of the road and trying to get passing cars to stop, right? So there are tricks and tactics for hitchhiking, right? So if you remember the movie Dil Chahta Hai, so Amir Khan teaches Pooja Bhatt in that movie how to have a successful experience of hitchhike, right? So he was telling her how to stop a car and for a free ride, right? So that way you can understand how hitchhike works, right? So hitchhike is to travel by asking other people to give you a free ride. They hitchhiked around Europe, right? So a lot of people actually travel through hitchhiking. They hitchhike in trucks on these roads, and when they reach cities, they hitchhike, other people. So, other means of transport. So that way they travel. Yes, a lot of people have actually completed their travel goals by hitchhiking only. So they hitchhiked around the coast of Ireland. You should never go hitchhiking alone, right? So you possibly should also take care of your security, because if you are traveling alone, you can be looted and you possibly can put your life in jeopardy if the person who is going to give you the ride has some ulterior motive, right? So you should never go hitchhiking alone. I would never hitchhike on my own. They hitchhiked to Paris. Couple of words, couple of sentences using this word with ing, with ed, they hitchhiked to Paris. So very clearly, it's a verb, right? So it's a verb, you can use it in a verb form only. It's a one word, right? So if you can see, all the sentences are using it as one single word. They are not separate word, right? So don't get confused by that, but go by the sentence, it's one single word. So hitchhike is to travel by asking other people to give you a ride. Circumnavigation. So circum is always around. Navigate is to travel by sea, right? So when you have this word with these two roots, you can easily understand the meaning. We have done a session on root technique. We did a lot of words with etymology, and with that we learned how to figure out the meaning of words by understanding their roots, by understanding the prefix and suffix. So you can see two roots here, circum and navigation. Circumnavigate is to go around a place, right? So when you take a circle of a place, you circumnavigate. So the original meaning is that when you go by sea and go around that place, that is circumnavigate. But circumnavigate can also be used when you go around the place even on land, right? The act of sailing all the way around something, right? So that is circumnavigation, a circumnavigation of the globe from west to east. So that's how circumnavigation can be understood. We completed our circumnavigation of the island in a little boat, right? So there was a small island, let's say a small island in Andaman and Nicobar. We took a boat and we circumnavigated that island. So that's how this word can also be used, right? So we took entire circle of that small island. Madagascar is another island. So when you circumnavigate, that means you have taken a complete circle in a boat of that island, right? A circumnavigation of the park along excellent, clearly signpost cycle path is 25 miles. So here, as I said, the word is also used on land. You are taking the circumnavigation of the park. That means the park is at the center of a city, at the center of some area, you are circumnavigating the park. So it is 25 miles. So when you start from a point of the park to circumnavigate the park, it takes you 25 miles to complete, right? So this is how circumnavigate can also be used for taking a round trip on land. The act of, now the second meaning of circumnavigate, the act of discussing something in a lot of detail, especially in order to avoid delay mentioning something, circumnavigating. Do you remember one word, circumlocute? Circum was circle, locute is for speaking. We did this root when we did etymology. Locute is for speaking, circumlocution, elocution, loquacious, grandilocution, magnilocution, all these words came for speaking, some or other way speaking, right? So circumlocute is to speak in a roundabout way, talking, beating around the bush. You don't talk to the point. Same is circumnavigation, right? So in a way, you want to hide some details, you want to avoid mentioning some details, and that is why you're talking in a very detailed manner. You are illustrating details, you are extending your answer again. At the same time, you are not giving the details that are wanted, all right? So that way, circumnavigation is used for talking about something in a very detailed manner. I'm not one of those people who think that personal topics should only be approached after a long circumnavigation, right? So it means that I'm not of the opinion that you should circumnavigate when you talk about your personal life, right? You can come straight to the point when you talk about your personal life as well, right? You don't need to circumnavigate, all right? Two meanings of circumnavigate. Originally, the word is used for taking a round trip in sailing by a boat, right? But it can also be used for taking a trip of certain area, right? We took the example of a park. Another meaning of circumnavigate is to discuss something in a very detailed manner, especially to avoid something or to evade personal details. Alright. So you see this picture, though the picture is seems quite ancient, quite archaic. I mean, you don't get to see this kind of boats, you don't get to see this kind of expedition anymore, but still, to depict you what voyage means, this seemed to be, or this appeared to be the perfect picture, right? So voyage is a long journey, especially by sea or in space, all right? So the picture is of two boats which are heavily loaded by all kinds of equipment, all kinds of necessary things which are possibly needed to undertake a long journey, right? The kind of journey that Vasco da Gama started, or the kind of journey that Columbus started. They were on a long journey. Of course, that was also an expedition because they had a clear purpose in their mind. They wanted to discover new places, they wanted to discover new talents. So they had a very clear purpose and motive. At the same time, it was a voyage because it was a long journey, right? So, and around the world voyage, example, a voyage in space, right? So the Titanic sank on its maiden voyage. So maiden is first, right? So maiden over, you all understand what maiden over means. So maiden is your first thing that you start your journey with, you start your profession with, or you start your innings with, right? So maiden. So the Titanic sank on its maiden voyage. So here you can understand the sentence, the Titanic, the ship, which was big, which was humongous, it sank on its maiden voyage, first journey. It was a long journey. It started in England. It was supposed to reach America. So it sank in its maiden voyage. All right? First journey. Figuratively, you can see the sentence or the word coming figuratively. Going to college can be a voyage of self-discovery. All right? So voyage can also be used in a figurative way, metaphorical way, where you have a journey of self-discovery. Right? So when you go to college, you get to know what you are good at, what you are meant for, what your purpose of life is, or what your weaknesses are, right? So you get to see who you are, what you want in life, or where you stand in terms of your aspiration, right? So that's kind of self-discovery, right? So it's a voyage of self-discovery. When you write a book, that is also a voyage of self-discovery. When you write something, everything is exposed, right? So that is also a voyage of self-discovery. So figuratively, this word being used for taking a journey for exploring yourself. Darwin's epic voyage of exploration. Here, see, right? He produced a remarkable series of paintings inspired by his fantastic voyage and spectacular surroundings. So, all the fantastic voyage he undertook. So these paintings are depicting the experience he had during those voyage, right? And his spectacular surrounding. So the surrounding he lived was spectacular. So all these things are perfectly reflected in his paintings. He was a young sailor on his first sea voyage, right? Literal. Figurative, the first year of a loving relationship is a voyage of discovery. When you start a relationship, right? It's a honeymoon period. You don't get to see each other's flaw, you don't get to see each other's mistakes, shortcomings. What you see is the loving, rosy picture of togetherness, blissfulness, right? So, the first year of a loving relationship is a voyage of discovery, all right? So, when you start discovering each other, so first year is, you get to understand who you are, what you are, and how compatible you are for each other, all right? So voyage. It's a long journey, especially by sea or in space. But figuratively, this can be used for anything. All right? Odyssey. So space Odyssey, right? So I hope that that is what conjures up in your mind when you see this word or when you hear this word. The space Odyssey. So a long, exciting journey is Odyssey, right? A long journey during which somebody has a lot of interesting and exciting experiences. Right? So whenever I read this word or come across this word, the movie or the experience that comes to my mind is that movie Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, right? Yeah, Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. So the movie covers three men journey, a travel that they undertake for spending some time together before getting married. A man who travels that trip with his friends to spend some time, quality time with his childhood friends, with his school buddies, with college buddies, before he gets into a committed relationship, right? In that travel, in that journey, they happen to discover themselves, right? They get to know who they really are, what their darkest secrets are, right? And they also get to know each other better, right? So it was an odyssey for them because they have exciting experiences during that travel, right? So Hrithik Roshan meets Katrina Kaif, and here Nasiruddin Shah, his Farhan Sheikh meets his father. So that way they have some exciting experiences, new experiences, right? At the same time, they also discover themselves, all right? So a journey during which you have some exciting experiences. She kept a record of all the places she passed through on her Odyssey, right? So she undertook an odyssey and she has kept a record of all the places she visited during that travel. The film follows one man's odyssey to find the mother from whom he was separated at birth, right? So with that you can understand that he took a long journey and finally met the woman who was his mother, right? So Odyssey, all right? A long journey, especially the exciting one. Sortie, one more word. So it's a short journey to somewhere you have not been before. So it's a sortie, right? Often with a particular purpose. When you take a sortie, you have very clear purpose in your mind that you are going to this place with this purpose, right? So when you go to a specific place for ecotourism, right? When you go to a place for medical tourism, so it can be a sortie because you are going there for a definite, clear purpose in your mind, right? You want to enjoy pastoral surroundings. You want to live in a bucolic environment and want to enjoy that kind of surrounding life and lifestyle, right? So very clear purpose that you want to go from the hustle bustle of your metropolitan city's life and you want to enjoy some time in the lap of mountains or in the serenity of nature, right? So that is a sortie, very clear purpose. Okay? So it was our first sortie into the shopping center. So first kind of experience of a shopping center. So I, possibly I did not have any experience of doing shopping in a shopping center. Second meaning of sortie is a flight that is made by an aircraft during military operations, an attack made by soldiers, right? So here, this picture of Rajnath Singh taking a sortie in Tejas is not reflecting the secondary meaning. It is reflecting the first meaning. That is a short journey. So he took that flight from a place, and very shortly he reached another place. Right. So that was a short journey for a very particular purpose because he wanted to test how effectively it flies or how skillfully this works, this whole airplane works, right? So possibly he was taking with a definite purpose of testing its technology or something. All right, so sortie here, this picture is associated with the first meaning of sortie. Secondary meaning of sortie is a flight that is made by an aircraft during military operation. All right, so an attack made by soldiers, raid, a bombing sortie. They had made several sorties against enemy troops. So if you have seen this movie Gunjan Mehta, you see sortie by Indian Air Force, right? He led his platoon in a sortie against the enemy, right? So that's the secondary meaning of sortie. All right. First meaning is a short trip, a short journey which you take with a particular purpose. Okay. So you see a lot of people going somewhere. Usually they seem to have a common purpose of reaching this place, right? Because the place is known for something, or the place is considered pious, holy, or is prominent for a specific reason, right? So peregrination is a long journey in which you travel to different places, especially on foot, right? So earlier, when we did not have a lot of means of transportation, people used to go from one place to another on foot, right? They would undertake all pilgrimages through on foot, right? So this is how this word is applicable for long journey where you go from one place to another on foot, right? So a journey, especially a long and slow one, since you are traveling on foot, since you are walking on foot, journey is going to take a lot of time, right? Char Dham Yatra, which is usually undertaken by people of India as a religious ritual, can also be termed as peregrination, right? So peregrination, because when they go to these Char Dham in India, which are in different locations, which are in, one is in the east corner, one is in the down south, and then another is in north, and the last one is in the western side of India, right? So they cannot directly go from one place to another, right? So it's going to take a lot of time, and then they are going to stay at one place, and then they are going to start their journey again. So that way, peregrination can also be that Char Dham Yatra, right? Though that is not undertaken on foot, but same way, it can also be used, this word can also be used for this kind of journey, right? So because Peter wanted to explore the world, he chose a life of peregrination and never slept in one city for longer than 3 days. So peregrination, right? So he started to live a life of wanderlust, and he started exploring different paths. So he led the life of peregrination, right? From one place to another, long journey. The high school graduate has decided to enjoy a peregrination through Europe before attending a local university. So this is a very common ritual in Western world where students, after finishing their school, they take a long break, and they use this break to travel around the world. They explore different places, they discover themselves during that journey, they see what they are good at, they understand what their aspirations are. Eventually, when they come to this conclusion that this is what they want to go ahead, this is what they want to pursue in their life, they take college, they take admission in the college, right? So this is a very common practice prevalent in Western countries, all right? So peregrination, long journey, you don't have a clear destination in your mind, you just set out your journey, having in your mind one place, and then, from that only you start which place you have to go next, right? So peregrination, a long journey which takes a lot of time and usually it is taken on foot, right? Wandering. So we wander when we go to a place, right? So when we move in and around place to see different locations, to see all the sites which are worth visiting in the city, you wander, right? So wander is to stray. If you remember, we did a slide with current affairs in which we took up the issue of the Chinese soldier who strayed in Indian borders or strayed in Indian territory, right? So stray is same as wander. So wander off is, is used for straying. So time spent traveling around or going from one place or to another place. So after all her wanderings, she had come back home to stay, right? After all her wanderings. That means after straying off all around the city, she has finally come back home. So humorously, you see one sentence, if you see Alan in your wanderings, you tell him he's wanted in the office, right? So you can understand that if you see him wandering somewhere, in your wanderings, if you see him around, tell him he's wanted in the office, right? So if you wander, that means Wherever you go, whichever place you visit, if you see him, tell him he is wanted in the office. So wanderings is aimless walking, aimlessly going to a place and roam around there. All right. So wander can also be used for seeing a specific place, looking around and see what a place has to offer, what all attraction that place has. Right. So that's also wander. Okay. So look at the picture. Right. So as I have been saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? So this man, one feet on one globe, which is depicting one continent. He has another feet, another globe, which is depicting different continent of the world, right? So here you see a bird who is globe, a person who is globe trotting, right? He's wearing a suit, so possibly he's traveling for his professional purposes, for his for discharging his professional duties. He's globetrotting. All right. So the activity of traveling in many countries all over the world is globetrotting. So it can also be for pleasure. It can also be for work. Right. So she has done her fair share of globetrotting. That means she has traveled around the world. She has seen different countries, and she has done in fair amount of time. So the Prime Minister's globe-trotting has led to acquisition that he is ignoring domestic problems. So here you get to see this word being applicable for a politician who is traveling around the world, who is visiting different countries, meeting diplomats there, meeting those his counterparts in different countries, getting to know their custom, getting to know their politics, building strong relationship with these foreign countries, possibly building economic ties with these countries, but he is accused that he is ignoring or he is overlooking domestic problems, the problems which ails his own country. All right, so globe-trotting Prime Minister. Arnold has certainly done his fair share of globe-trotting. Yeah? After a lifetime of globe-trotting, she decided to settle down with her Scots husband. Right? So she did fair amount of travel all her life. Finally, she decided to settle with her Scots husband, right? Scottish husband, that way. So globe-trotting career. So when you have globe-trotting career, when you have globe-trotting profession, or when you are in a globe-trotting job, that means your job or work involves traveling around the world, traveling from one country to another country, traveling from one continent to another continent, right? He's busy globe-trotting from China to Africa to the US, right? So these are different countries as well as one continent, Africa. He spent his entire career globe-trotting with the Marines. All right, so globe-trotting, right? So you're traveling around the globe. Pilgrimage, you can see the picture of Puri Jagannath pilgrimage, right? So these pictures are very common in India, where you get to see a lot of people, flock of people going to a specific place. You see annual pilgrimage of Tirupati, Jagannath, Puri, or Vaishno Devi, right? So pilgrimage or Hajj pilgrimage, right? So pilgrimage is a journey, is a travel that you undertake to see a religious place, to visit a religious place, right? Or it may be customary, or it may be your desire to visit these places because you are an ardent follower of your faith, right? So a special journey made by a pilgrim is a pilgrimage, right? So Muslims try to make a pilgrimage to Mecca at least once in their life. So usually all Muslims have this primary motive to go to Mecca once in their life, right? So Mecca is a place where they undertake this holy travel of Hajj, right? So the Hajj is undertaken by Muslim people. So this is known as pilgrimage. His parents made a pilgrimage to Lord. So maybe a place where which is considered pious, holy, and people go and visit, pay their obeisance. She was on a pilgrimage to the Holy Land when she got sick, right? The shrine was an object of pilgrimage. She's shrine, right? So it was an object of pilgrimage. That means people came and they offer their prayers here. There was a ban on political protest during the pilgrimage, right? Now, for these religious purposes, pilgrimage is used. Look at this word being used for different purposes as well. a visit to a place that is considered special, right? Now look at the sentence. For many fans, the National Stadium is a place of pilgrimage. Now it's not a religious place, and these people are not the devotees of any deity or lord, but rather they have immense respect for this place, right? So Lord's Stadium in England, right? Any cricketer would have this desire to play there. If he does not get to play there, he would have this desire to visit that place once, right? So that is a pilgrimage for cricketing fans or for cricketers, right? So pilgrimage can also be used for any place that you feel has immense respect, right? So annual pilgrimage, any person who is who has scientific bent of mind, who has this desire to do something in for scientific community. So these places like ISRO can be pilgrimage for him, right? So you can understand this word being used in different contexts as well. All right? Right. So this picture is, I hope it's going to cheer you up among this, apprehension and disorientation which is prevailing because of this pandemic. I hope this picture will cheer you up. You get to see three men wearing, clothes which are perfect for vacationing, wearing their spectacles, and getting a picture clicked. So you see, they are in a very cheerful mood. They just want to take delight in whatever they are doing. They are on a different place, possibly just to chill out, right? So Gellivant is to go around from one place to another in the pursuit of pleasure or entertainment, right? So remember the reason you went to Goa, or remember the reason you went to Bangkok, right? So you did not have any religious reason to go to these places, you did not have any other motive but to please yourself, just to have some kind of enjoyment, right? So that is Gellivant, right? So she quit her job to go gallivanting around the globe, right? So she wanted to enjoy her life. She wanted to take pleasure by traveling. You are too old to go gallivanting around Europe, right? So you possibly cannot go on a pleasurable trip. That's what the sentence is conveying. The mischievous wanderer, look at the sentence. The mischievous wanderer was gallivanting around town in search of something to entertain himself, paying no heed to those around him. So look at this man, single-handedly focused on entertaining himself. He's paying no heed to people around him, right? While doing certain things, he possibly is causing trouble to other people, but he's completely overlooking that, right? So he's too much engrossed in, entertaining himself, in pleasuring himself, right? So this mischievous wanderer was gallivanting around town, right? So he was doing certain activities which were pleasing him, which were entertaining him, but same time, possibly causing trouble for us, right? So Gellivant, usually the word is used in a progressive sense, right? Progressive form. So you can see the sentence in all these three sentences. You see ing form, progressive form being used, right? So go gallivanting. This is how this word is collocated. All right. So we did this word voyage, and we come to the end of today's session with bon voyage, right? So bon voyage is an expression, it's an exclamation when you see somebody, when you see somebody goodbye for their journey, when you see somebody off for their journey, you tell them bon voyage, have a happy journey, right? So bon is for happy, voyage is for journey, right? So it's a French word which is used very frequently in English, calling somebody, wishing somebody to have a good journey, to have a safe travel, have a good journey, right? So bon voyage, that's the word I would like to end my today's session with, right? I hope you learned certain words with today's session. Now if you want to talk about travel, if you want to write something on travel, or if there's a passage based on traveling and you come across these terms, you won't have any difficulty in expressing or understanding the meaning of these words, right? So very quickly, let's have a recap. Itinerant, Itinerary is a document, is a paper which details all the information about your travel, your stay, places you visit, people, and the time of your travel and the means of your travel as well, right? So all these details are included in an itinerary. When you get your travel planned by a travel agency, the travel agency always gives you an itinerary, all right? Itinerant is a person who keeps going from one place to another for the search of a job, right? So itinerant jobs are those jobs where people are not stationed, do not stay at one place, but rather they have to go from one place to another for discharging their duties, right? So itinerant job, I give you example of a couple of jobs which are itinerant job, like marketing, MR, all these are itinerant job. Laborers, itinerant, right? Wanderlust with Bear Grylls, we understood what wanderlust means. So this man has insatiable appetite to travel, to explore, to see different parts of the world, right? So wanderlust, strong desire, strong urge to travel, to explore, to go different places. That is wanderlust, right? Itchy feet. So itchy feet. So when you have itchy feet, that means you want to travel, you want to go around places, right? Same time, itchy feet is also used when you want to start doing something new, something which you have been doing, you feel sick of doing it, and you start feeling that you should start doing something else. You want to turn to a new leaf, right? So that way, itchy feet is also the desire of doing something else. Jaunt is a short trip, right? Jaunt, excursion, both are same. Jaunt is a short trip that you undertake on the weekend and you come back soon, right? So it's not a long journey. Jaunt can also be taken by your own vehicle, right? So on your own vehicle, when you go somewhere for 2 days, that can be a jaunt, that can be an excursion. Expedition is a long journey but with a specific purpose, right? So we understood excursion was taken on Antarctica, it was taken on South Pole, it was taken on Arctic pole, right? So that way you can understand that expedition is always done with a specific purpose, usually for scientific discovery or experiment purpose. Exotic, anything which is new, anything which is foreign, anything which is not indigenous is exotic. It can be fruit, it can be customs, it can be clothes, right? So anything which is not indigenous to your land, your native place is exotic for you. So locations can be exotic, right? So those things which originated in a tropical region, tropical country are exotic, but you get to see this word being used for all those things which are foreign, right? So exotic fruits, exotic flowers, exotic clothes, exotic people, right? Hitchhike, so travel by asking other people to give you a free ride in their means of transportation. So hitchhike can also be used in traveling when you sometimes you hitchhike because you have some problem with your own means of communication, or you prefer traveling by hitchhiking. A lot of people do. Circumnavigation is to take a roundabout way. One meaning of the word is talking about something in a very roundabout way. Ghuma fira ke baat karna, circumlocute karna. Another meaning is the act of sailing all the way around something. All the way around something means taking a round trip of a place. On land as well. Not by sailing alone, on land as well, you can circumnavigate a place. Voyage is a long journey, especially by sea or in space, right? But voyage can also be figuratively used for taking a trip to know yourself, taking a trip to discover yourself, all right? Odyssey is a long, exciting journey, especially the journey which is filled with exciting, interesting things are happening, all right? We did the example of Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. Sortie is again a short journey with a specific purpose. Sortie is also used for military operation, air strike by in military operation, right? So that's also sortie. So you can see the picture of Rajnath Singh taking a sortie in Tejas, right? Short trip from one place to another. Specific purpose was to see how effectively Tejas is working. Perigrination is a long journey in which you travel different places, especially on foot, right? So peregrination can also be used for those those travel which you take by a means of transportation. Wandering is to wander off, right? Is to roam around, is to travel around, to go from one place to another and see everything, right? So that is wandering. Globetrotting is to traveling around the world, from one country to another, from one continent to another continent. Pilgrimage, so holy place, visit to a holy place, visit to a pious place, especially for as a religious custom. Pilgrimage is also used when you respect a place a lot. So you visit there, you go there as your pilgrimage. Event is taking a pleasurable trip. I gave you an example of going to Goa, going to Bangkok for gallivanting. Voyage is exclamation for wishing somebody good journey. Alright, thank you very much for watching this video. I would appreciate if you share with me your thoughts and opinion about the session and give me some feedback about what topics or what things you want me to cover up in my coming sessions. Stay tuned on this channel, keep watching my video and I'm going to make for further vocabulary building. Alright, thank you. Have a good day.